Hi everyone, it's Mike from Hickory Hollow Rural Adventures once again. This one's a little different. The other day I got a reply to a comment I had made 6-8 months ago on YouTube to a feller, and the reply back to me was for some advice on a young man starting out in this type of business. And I have a few things. Of course, everybody does everything different, but this is a few things that have worked for me. I would say don't get too attached to your money. The other day I did a job and I got a really nice bonus for doing that job and really appreciated that and everything. But then 2 days later, this happens. The jack on my trailer broke, and so I spent all day yesterday repairing that and getting it fixed and doing a real great job of welding, but that's me. But anyway, so don't get too attached to your money. It goes fast in this business. Of course, my trailer is old and like me, but anyway, there it goes. So a few of the things that I would have to talk about would be, in the business things, you could either buy a piece of equipment like this nice excavator, or there's also the renting option, which has some tax advantages, and also buying also has some advantages that worked in your favor for the taxes. Then plus you get to keep the machine at the end. But then there's that other issue that I like to trade them in about every 2,000 hours, because then you still have some equity in your machine. The new machine doesn't cost as much. You're always running new equipment, but that can't be said of the dump truck. It's an old 1988 job, but it does a good job. But anyway, all my skid steer and my excavator, I really like to trade them in all the time. So now let's say a few things about maintenance. This right here is a very important tool to have. It makes you go ahead and grease your machine at your regular intervals, because it's not such a chore. High investment item. Definitely a must-have for doing that. And as you can see, not so much on this side, but I do regular greasing all the time. I don't actually get to clean up the greasing that often because I'm usually too busy. It's a mess, but gets grease all over it. I'll clean that up. I've been on a job that's been pretty muddy, so we're working on that. And definitely do all your maintenance at the required intervals. Super important. Keep your tracks adjusted right. Keep the wear on your sprockets and your idler. Very important items right there. The grease I use is the black grease. It's the heavy duty high impact grease. I just feel it gives more protection to the pins. Pins are very expensive, pins and bushings to replace. Grease is cheap. Just grease. I just greased this machine and the skid steer, and flip up and hit the windshield. That just would make a in the wintertime, yeah, heater is a definite must. Makes your production so much better. Another thing I'd like to stress is to be looking up, because you're always focused on where your bucket's at, what you're doing with your bucket, making things nice down here. But a lot of times you don't pay attention to what the top of that boom is doing, and you could pick something up, swing around, and suddenly you're right into a tree, and that is not a good thing. You'll bang your equipment, you'll do all sorts of things. One time I was underneath a porch working like this, and I wasn't paying attention to the top, and the top hit the underneath of the porch, and it rattled the whole house that they were building with a guy on the roof, and it shook him. And yeah, that cost me a case of beer to remedy that one. Fortunately, it was a good friend of mine, but yeah, it wasn't good. So always look up. And that brings me to the point of why I always wear these short-billed funky hats that I wear, because that way it's not blocked so much. I have more of a vision to see up above, and I can just barely move it, and I can see up my upper window and out to my boom. So speaking of wearing hats, if you're a small business, just yourself or one or two employees, you're going to be wearing all the hats of the business, which include maintenance, repairs. This morning, and your paperwork, all your paperwork, keeping that in order. I've built spreadsheets to help me out with that. That keeps track of everything for me. This morning I paid bills, did my spreadsheets, did my invoicing. Later today I worked on both of my trailers up above. That was a task. Spent half a day repairing trailer brakes. Then I came down and greased my excavator and my skid loader. Got that taken care of. And then is talking about returning phone calls too. That's super important. Not that I'm the best at it. Some of my clients will say, well, you didn't call me back. Well, I got busy. And when during the middle of the day, I hope they understand that it's just me and I'm trying to get this stuff done. I don't have time to be talking on the phone all day. So I try to call them back in the evening or when I get a chance to do that. Very important though to keep your customers in the loop and knowing that they are important to you and you do care about. And one of the very important things that I try to do with every job is to give the customer a little more than what they originally asked for. Do a little extra. You'll have the customers that are, while you're here, could you do this? And you're on a bid job. You didn't bid that part of the aspect in. But it's very important to keep your customers happy, because word of mouth, especially in my realm, is very important. I try to keep everybody happy and they wouldn't be afraid to recommend me. And that's what happened with my business, why I stay busy. Always give a little extra. It's just something good to do in life anyway. Sure, you're trying to make a living, but you know, it isn't all about the money. It's about helping people out. You have a machine that can really help a lot of people out, and they get astounded sometimes by what you can do with that machine. And you know what? I'm just gonna throw a cute baby horse in the mix just because I can. This horse was born for my grandniece to have. Baby horse, she's calling him Trigger. He's a cutie. Doesn't have much to do with excavating, but well, there's a story behind this horse too. 20 years ago, my wife had LASIK surgery, came home. This horse was being born. She couldn't look because her eyes had just been worked on, and the mare was having trouble foaling, so I had to end up pulling this horse out of the mare. And then my wife was standing right there, but she couldn't open her eyes to see any of it. And so we call this horse, this the mother, Lacey, because it was LASIK surgery at the time. So anyway, and there's a little trigger for my grandniece. Kind of cute. Also, I would like to add into this that if you have any comments, any tips to share, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and we'll discuss this. And I'm sure there are several other ideas out there, so let me know. And thank you. So with that, I think that that's about all I have for this video here. So I just want to end by saying, look up and aim up. That's the best way to live this life. Thank you.